Today's episode is presented by Lodestar, the fee experts.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Lending Leaders Summer Session. I am Alayna Gardner, AMP, and I'm joined today with our CEO, Jim Paolino. And we're here to close out our summer session with SettleWise and just talk a little bit about what we feel like we've learned over the last 6 weeks and where we see ourselves going. So,
That's
Jim.
like 6-7 months, really, with SettleWise, right? I'm kind of sad that it's the end of the summer there.
We're getting there. We're going to ignore that it's the end of the summer. Like, it's
Halloween
not,
candy is out at stores now. I'm not happy about it. Pumpkin beer is out, so it's starting.
Yeah, and I mean, we're prepping for fall conference season and all of that. So
that's okay.
But yeah, we really want to end the summer with a bang.
Yeah, well, the interest rates are helping with that.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. So that's probably a good place to lead with SettleWise. Is we rather luck goes a long way in things that you're doing. So we're fortunate that it seems like we're slowly but surely getting into an improving refi environment. And that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Who knows what that's going to look like over the rest of the year. I think one thing that I've learned with SettleWise and any new venture in general is regardless of your level of experience, what you've done before, the steps are the same. You try something, you inevitably fail or mess up, you change it, and then you try again.
Yeah.
Right? And you iterate and you change things and you see success and then you tweak it and you tweak it. And the faster you go through those cycles, the better. Right? And having that experience doesn't change the fact that you need to go through that. You're still going to make mistakes. There's still going to be those kind of stumbles and things to tweak. But I think with SettleWise, one, it's happened incredibly faster than it did with Lodestar. I think Lodestar took 8 or 9 months to get our first client. This first SettleWise deal was in 5 weeks, right? That's
huge.
Big jump. So that all happens faster and probably a little bit calmer. If I think about it, if I think about, where I was personally, the stress that was on me personally, what's going to happen if things don't work out. Like none of that is really a factor of we just have to do this and we just have to go through these cycles, and you can do it in a more maybe not impersonal way, but calmer. I think, like I said, is the best way of happening. So that's what I think went really. We had Shauna on last week. She's been doing fantastic for us. We're really happy about that. We're kind of moving to our next step. I think I mentioned the phases in an earlier podcast about phase 1, proof of concept, phase 2, working with a partner, introducing the brand, phase 3, bringing everything in-house to produce title and do things ourselves. We're firmly moving into phase 3 right now, which happened a little differently than we thought, but we kind of realized in like a chicken or the egg way of like, we can't get more business until we bring more things in-house ourselves. But we can't bring more things in-house until we get more business. So we realized like taking this next step and really having as much control over the process as possible is really going to be the only way we're going to improve it, have a great customer experience, and do the types of things that we want to do. So that's been really good going through that. I think over the next few weeks, we'll kind of announce some of the new offerings and products we have. One of my focuses is how do we tie the two things together? How do we most closely tie Lodestar with SettleWise? There's 20,000 or more title agents in the country. There's hundreds of national or multi-state title agents. So that's not a differentiator. But I think by tying in Lodestar and the data we have as Lodestar and where we sit in the transaction, we can be much more unique than one out of a few hundred. So those are the things that have been going well and figuring out to get a little ranty there.
Yeah. And I think from a marketing standpoint, we've really kind of, I think, figured out SettleWise's tone a little bit more this summer. Yeah. We've gotten to play with it a little bit more.
Fewer memes.
Yeah. And I think one of the great things we're actually launching tomorrow. So if you are seeing this and you want to get this email, we'll have a link so you can sign up for that in all of our descriptions and all that stuff. We are starting a new email campaign. We have the Lodestar report, which does really well. We've talked to a lot of lenders. They really enjoy it. We really try and make sure that it's valuable. And it's not really just marketing, right? It's more about how can we provide value to the mortgage industry at large. And we really said, okay, well, how can we provide value as a title agency in an email? So tomorrow launches our first ever TGIF email. So we're going to be sending emails out on Fridays with Tale of Two Mortgages' sister comic, Working Title, where we're going to explain some common title insurance flaws and all of that. So it's been really cool to kind of see those characters take new life and all of that. And we're just trying to bring that same value just in a little bit different vertical.
Yep. And I think that's something that we've figured out of being able to explain title insurance concisely is super important. We're not necessarily making content or going to be targeting the home buyers or individual borrowers because it just doesn't really make sense for us. Our target are people using Lodestar already, which are mainly lenders. So that means we can be a little bit funnier. They have a baseline knowledge of this, but they can still learn different things. They can laugh about this. We can explain the value. We're entering this at an interesting time where title insurance is really in the crosshairs of a lot of government cuts, a lot of people questioning the necessity of it, questioning what does it actually do. So it's going to be really interesting to see where that changes and how we can continue to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah. And so, Jim, I think my question for you is, what are you most excited about for the rest of the year for SettleWise?
I think just seeing what happens. I think continuing to, go through those cycles, like I said before, of making mistakes, learning, making changes, and continuing to iterate. And in many ways, like, you're getting to create something a little bit more than Lodestar. And right now the highs are a little bit higher with SettleWise. Every time we get an order in, it's exciting because it's just new. So you're able to, like, we're changing things more, we're tweaking things more. It's a lot more nascent. So it's fun. It's fun getting to see that process and having that happen in a way that isn't, as stressful as it was 11 years ago, where I'm questioning, will this work? Will I have to move in with my parents? What's going to happen? Like, there's just the floor is not going to fall out at the end of the day. So I guess being able to enjoy the process a little bit more, I think, and doing it in a market that could be really good for us. We'll see. Plus, I've been part-time really on paternity leave until Labor Day, so it's going to be fun kind of getting back. And the team's done a great job doing a lot of things that I would be doing normally. So now I have kind of a better ability to dive into this, to dive into content creation, to dive into a lot of things I'm excited about. So.
Yeah. I think me personally, I have a little bit of a selfish item is I'm really excited to get to see the brand live and in person on Collateral. Like we've gotten to we've done a few pieces of collateral here and there, but we really haven't gotten to see the brand in its full form in the same way we have in person, the same way we have with Lodestar.
And the brand that you really created from scratch too, where Lodestar, there was a whole lot of changes obviously, but like the product really hasn't changed since you've been here. Versus this of like from day one of what do we do? What do we call this? How do we market? What's our tone? How do we connect it to Lodestar?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm really excited. I'm going to promote a lot apparently in this episode, but we'll also be launching next week our reception, the Mile High welcome reception will be sponsored in part by Lodestar and SettleWise. So you'll get to see the SettleWise logo in person.
We're doing a ton of work. So there's a lot of things to promote, a lot of things coming up. So
exactly.
Well deserved.
And I think that's really it for me. I'm really excited to just kind of get to see people's reaction. It's going to be our first MBA annual announcing the title company. We kind of talked to some people about it last year and had some conversations. But this year it really is SettleWise is there. We're a part of it, both as Lodestar and SettleWise. And I'm really excited for that. But I think that's it. That's it. Do you have anything else?
We're getting back to business as usual with our guests.
Awesome. Yes. Well, we'll be back the Thursday after Labor Day, as always, with Jim and Dave to kind of talk about where Lodestar is today, because we haven't really talked about that all summer, and there's been a lot that's happened.
Man, we got to record that.
So we'll be recording with them. So I'm really excited about that. And then we'll be back. We are going to start recording some of our guest episodes in the month of August. If you are interested in being a guest on Lending Leaders, please message Jim or myself on LinkedIn. We'd love to have a conversation, see if it's a good fit, and get you on the podcast.
Absolutely.
So, I'm excited.
Well, thank you for all of the work you do on this podcast, especially.
And a huge thank you to Tim, who gets to edit all these episodes. And sometimes, especially with the summer ones, our turnaround times are just a little bit tighter.
Just a little bit.
So thank you so much, Tim and Fiona, who do all the work behind the scenes on this podcast.
Makes our job look easy.
Exactly.
Easy, actually easy.
We just sit down in front of the camera at this point.